Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm going to be covering 3 coins today that was requested in the Discord Rec Recovery Room. You can join that and request any charts. I'll go over it on a weekly basis. The coins we're going to be going over is Bitcoin, Sol, Hype, and ONDO. So let's just get right into it because there's going to be a lot to cover. Let's start with the monthly time frame on Bitcoin. You know my levels that I am looking at right now on the monthly. This is the swing you need to hold. This is another swing that is very important. They tested this swing right here at 93,581. This is your bottom swing. This is what I'm really interested in right now, and got 71k. So this is the monthly levels I'm watching. Right now, what you want to see is monthly closes above 102.3 for continuation higher. If you get a continuation higher from 102.3, you can probably pull back, making you all-time highs. You could get something steeper, maybe a steeper test on the next monthly, and still continue higher. But ideally, if you do test 96,484 and close above 102, that is very bullish for Bitcoin. So that's what I'm looking for on the monthly. Let's clear this arrow out of here. Let's move on to the weekly. I know the weekly has a lot of interesting lines and stuff we have to look over. So let's first check and see what exactly we need to be looking for on the weekly time frame. We're going to move it right here. You have one weekly level right here. This is the swing that you failed to close above last week. If we do close above that, that could lead to more bullish continuation without retesting the monthly levels below. Below that, we have swings here. We have a swing that's important right here, and we have important swings down here. I would be more so interested in this type of range. We'll make a nice box for it right now. As for potential weekly pullbacks, that coincides with that monthly level. It's not really tested. You just really want to see the price to hold above the box. You have weekly levels below here at 86,000 as well too. Right here as well. Why is my magnet not working? Because I didn't select it. Here. And I think if you want to do that, you just press that. And here. So those are your weekly levels right now for Bitcoin that I am currently watching. It is a pretty big range here that you could be watching. You even have 98,000 as a weekly level now that I'm looking at it. So the box could actually be a little bigger than I expected. It could be something like this, where you have a bunch of weekly levels within this box that you could be watching. You would probably want to look for a progression or second or first tests on these weekly levels, meaning, let's say if you did come down, terrible finding this arrow, let's say you did come down on Bitcoin and you came and tested, let's say 97,265 on the weekly, and then the second weekly wants to hold a higher low above 97,265, you'd most likely see it test something like this within that weekly, and then progression higher, right? It's a huge zone that you could watch out for. I would be more interested maybe in the middle of the zone, and then maybe you can look for a retest higher for some type of continuation. If you start to close below these weekly levels, where you get deep candle closes here, then you're probably looking at some type of price action where price heads lower along the lines like this. So you would want to wait for the close, retest, see 98,340 acting as resistance and go lower. Really depends on how things close on the weekly. Let's move to the daily, the more juicy current price action everyone likes to look at. I've just noticed that basically within this day, price has just been chilling basically between two important levels. The first level that you're going to be wanting to look at, if I remember, was right here. It was 101.3. I'm going to mark it white for daily, and then it's been chilling on the top of this range right here. You could say even up to 106.3. The range here is actually getting pretty tight, meaning that the levels here on Bitcoin, this is tested, right? And then this is tested here. So this is basically squeezing. We could see a move in either direction. I would honestly want to see maybe price, if we zoom in onto the daily time frame, for price to maybe even close above 104.8k on the daily. And if we do close above 104.8k, we could see price continuation from here. So if you go like this, continuation, you could probably test 106.13 again, but it's probably more likely that we push higher, given that this area here is already tested. So we are pretty likely to make all-time highs. If you fail, just look at this bottom swings. If you fail, if you close below, let's just move the arrow down, right? You would get like a retest along something like the lines like this, right, to go down to those weekly levels, and then you would probably want to see a strong bounce up, which I was talking about prior to on Bitcoin. Alrighty, now we have Bitcoin out of the way. We're gonna move on to Solana. Let's actually clean up this chart a bit, to be honest. Let's go remove this. Let's start from the monthly. That's always the way to go when you're working with any chart. You start from the higher time frame to understand what are the key trends that you're looking for. First things first, we have important monthly level right here on Solana. I'm gonna mark that purple. Actually, let me use this tool to make it more thorough so I don't have to click so much. And then you have the previous prior all-time high, and you have these monthly things where we're just gonna mark the top one. This level here at 146.37 is tested. That's why it's currently bouncing where it is, so I'm not really interested in. We have this swing here, and then we also have this swing and this swing here. So we're honestly gunning for the 202, 208 levels. You could mark this one as well too, 188.2. So we'll see what happens around 188.2. That would probably be a good area of rejection. If Bitcoin were to push as well too, that would probably where I would like to see Solana reject, to be honest. And then if we were going to reject on the monthly time frame, we're going to take our arrow, and ideally if you're going to be playing monthly to monthly, you would want to be looking for maybe a deep retest into 135 region or 120 region for good possible buys on Solana. Okay, now we're going to move this to the weekly time frame. Weekly is actually a little bit more interesting in my opinion, because we're actually closed above this swing here. Change the color to W so I know what I'm looking for on Solana. So there could be a pullback here from that monthly to weekly level, but you have weekly levels that go all the way down on Solana as well. So we have a weekly support here, because this is part of the trend that took you up, and you have weekly support down here around these monthly levels as well. So you have this swing because this was the final leg down, right? Take this trend, this was the final leg down of that swing. So I would honestly have to say 132. I'm gonna mark this red because it's important to watch. If you start closing about below 132.k on the weekly, it's more likely that we make new lows on Solana. I have no idea how low we go. We're not there yet, but this is what comes to mind. 132 is a level to hold for Solana to be bullish, in my opinion. But this is deep. It's like the line in the sand. So if you wanted to hold these levels, this is where you would want to hold in order for price to push higher, for instance, continue new all-time highs and stuff. So that's what I'm looking for right now on the weekly for Solana. I'm not going to go into the daily for it because it's very tight. The consolidation is very tight. So I'm just very much so interested in levels here, levels here, levels here. These are your ranges that you are looking for from current price. You have 9% move up, and you have almost 5% move down. And then given that where we go from here, it's almost another 10%, 11%. So that's what I'm watching for. Watch for 188. That's your last level. That was basically lost on Solana. So on the weekly time frame, I mean this is on the monthly, and 162 is the last weekly level gained. So we're in a basically in the middle of the nowhere on the higher time frame. I would just wait to see what would happen. Just take a quick look at the daily. It's actually failing below here. Strong magnet. Mark that white. What else? And then you have this swing here. That's really all I would be really interested. If you stay below 178, we could push 162. Get above 178, we can push that monthly at 188. Right now it's retesting this on the daily. So let's see. If this starts to push, then you're stuck within this. I would not want to be trading between that 78 to 73 range. Okay, that's it for Sol. And then Hype. I think, let's see where on Hype it has the most. I think Bybit has good chart history on Hype, right? Okay, wow. Okay, let's start on the monthly. Oh, look where we are. Look where we are on the monthly. Actually, Hype is literally at monthly resistance right now. It's literally at monthly resistance. I am actually tempted to short this. I am tempted to short this. Looks really interesting. Let's break it down. At the weekly as well too. It's like monthly, weekly confluence going on right here. Push it down. This is the swing. Wow, that swing right there. 22 is the level to hold down there. Tested. You really want to close above 28 for new all-time highs on Hype. This was not tested. I like 16. Yeah, that's really honestly what I would be looking for right now. This could actually be a nice rejection. You're looking at 23 to 16% on Hype, just shorting the monthly. You can't be an idiot not to short the monthly. It's a monthly level. That's really all I have for Hype. I don't want to push it more than that. We're at a monthly resistance. There's no reason to really analyze it. If you really want to analyze and look for like more breakdown to continuation, that's your daily level right here, which is local. So if you close above this on the daily, we could push a little bit more higher, but at the monthly resistance, it's probably going to test something around here. Then you would probably want to look for a local failure or something, right? That would be your like trigger if you do close above it. But right now it's actually a valid spot to reject. And then if it does reject here, you're gonna lose a level, right? And then you could push down locally from this price action to around here. So that's what I would be really interested on Hype. And last coin is ONDO. I don't know what ONDO USD. I don't want to use the basics. This is from March. So let's see if Coinbase has from March. Okay, from March it does. Cool. There's the dinosaur. All right. We're going to start with the monthly on ONDO. Monthly on ONDO. This is your swing that pushed you all the way up. So if you wanted to get continuation from there, this level here at 124 was tested, so you're not really interested in shorting that, so we're going to remove it. And then this is your next important swing. So this is your monthly ranges for ONDO that I'm watching. Tested, 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 tested. Honestly, well, that's tested, tested. Yeah, those are the only two monthly levels I'm interested on ONDO. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly is actually back testing here on ONDO. And then you have this weekly swing here. That's the move that took you down. And then tested here. Tested, I think right here, the all-time high swing. that's your next level. But we're looking more locally. If you fail, how low? If you fail below 94 cents, you're going back to 77 cents. Ooh, you're testing this weekly right here as well. All right, look at it. So it came up, tested, now it's holding on the daily. Close below here on the daily. All right, and then where you could push to. If this weekly doesn't hold on ONDO, you got 17% from here. If you do get above this daily, where do you need to close above? So this is the impulse that took you up. I would honestly like price to be above 102, right? 102, hold, and then you can probably test that next weekly, which is, wow, if you look at it here, it's already tested on the daily. So I'm not really interested in tested, right? This area here too. This area here too, tested. It can push higher to the monthly. So that is good continuation. You see, actually the tested areas come from here. So yeah, if you're like closing above 102 and you're pushing it and you're consolidating, it's honestly great. If you fall below 94 on the weekly, it doesn't look so pretty, honestly. Well, you could say this as well too. It's very iffy. Yeah, it's currently back testing, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Of course, always in trading, if you get to a swing, for instance, like this swing right here, the expectation is that you're not always going to make a new low. So you always want to take profits with the intention of saying this might be a higher low, this might be a lower high. So it is a good idea, if you're going to be shorting this, you take profit here, and then once you take profit, you trail your stop loss and profit, and then that'd be your final TP. Or take more profit, could go lower, who knows, right? But we're just looking at everything locally. Okay, I'm gonna share this right away. If you got anything out of the video, like and subscribe. You can also join our Discord, the Wrecked Recovery Room. I post everything in there live, and you can also request charts from me if you want to review. I hope you got something out of this video. You start to see my thought process and the way I think. You'll start to see how my lines and how everything plays on the chart, given it the way it holds, and given if it doesn't hold. You start to see what is tested, what is untested, and maybe you pick up a few things that you could add to your arsenal. Yeah, and take care.